This is The Great Expanse by JohnBat426 here on YouTube. And today we're going to do a different video. This is about the halfway point of the year, okay? Well, actually, technically July was, but I'm a little late, but who cares? Okay. And we're going to do a grade for the MCU Phase V around the midpoint of the year. Around the midpoint. We're August, but whatever. So, we're first going to do it in chronological order. The MCU kicked off Phase V with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which debuted on February 17th. It was touted as being similar to Star Wars. Jonathan Majors' role as Kang the Conqueror was highly touted as well. I hate to use the same word twice, but oh well. Starring Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, of course, Jonathan Majors, and a small cameo by Bill Murray, which was totally unnecessary. I did a review about it right here on The Great Expanse by JohnBat426. And having watched the film the first time, I thought that Kang was treated like a vengeful lunatic. Am I ghosting? Okay. What I mean by vengeful lunatic is that he was doing things out of spite, out of anger, instead of out of intelligence. And to me, that torpedoed the movie a little bit, especially in the second half. Okay. Again, the unnecessarily slow-moving bridging mechanisms that took forever, and the fact that he had to take his entire complex out didn't make sense to me. It's like, you can leave these guys here in the quantum verse, the quantum realm, as a garrison to maintain order of the quantum realm. And guess what? It turned out it didn't matter anyway, because these nobodies here in the quantum realm overthrew them, along with some super intelligent ants, Ant-Man, the Wasp, older Ant-Man, older Wasp, and Cassie. Talk about the nerfing, I'm about to say another word, but I won't. The nerfing of MODOK, which is one of the biggest criticizing points of this film. The second time I watched the movie, it got dumber to me. I'm sorry, but it did. And I'm not going to regrade it. I'm going to be fair to the movie. I'm going to go with whatever the first grade was based on my initial watch of the movie. Second time around was worse. It did not get better with age. So, as far as I'm concerned, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania did not kick off the MCU in a positive way. Next on the list, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which I did not see in the theaters, okay? But I have watched the movie. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is better than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, even though the villain, the High Evolutionary played by Chukwudi Iwuji, was awful. He was just mean. He was just doing stuff just to do stuff, just to let you know he's the bad guy. There was, and it could have been done in such a way that he was almost seen as an anti-hero, which the High Evolutionary is sort of viewed as in the Marvel comics. It's like, I'm trying to improve, and then you can show why the civilization or the colony or the Earth, it was called Counter-Earth in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, why it needed improving. And it's easy to do. You can just show the turmoil in politics in the United States, wars, the war in Ukraine and the war in Russia. And you would think to yourself, man, if only this world was better. People think that all the time. You see elected officials that you don't believe in. We see multiple indictments against the former president of the United States. And people are saying, how can we improve? The High Evolutionary could have been so essential to this movie. But instead, he was just a screaming lunatic that conveniently had gravity powers that you can just look away at somebody that's getting on your nerves. You don't even have to give them your full attention. You can just flick them against the wall, flick them over a balcony, and they fall to their deaths. Chukwudi Iwuji, great actor, okay, but wasted in this movie. Adam Warlock, wasted in this movie. Totally wasted. The Guardians were the Guardians. You know, it was centered around the Guardians of the Galaxy, which I appreciated. We had a cameo from Nathan Fillion. We had a cameo from Howard the Duck, which was hilarious. But the movie overall did not, and this is just my opinion, it did not bolster the newly crowned MCU Phase V, because this was the second project that we got after Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The Guardians of the Galaxy should have come out later in the phase, okay? But, again, that's just my opinion, because a lot of people are saying this movie is the best thing since Endgame. I can't help their opinions. I can't refute their opinions, because it's their opinions. In my opinion, I'm going to say Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is probably the best movie since Endgame, okay? But Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is not a good pillar to the MCU Phase V. I apologize for that, but that's just how I feel about it. And the third thing that sort of concluded the halfway point of the MCU Phase V in the mid-year. Okay, remember, this is a mid-year report card I'm giving. Secret Invasion, which debuted on June 21st on Disney+. It started off average. Okay, it was okay. Episodes 2 built on top of 1, 3 on top of 2, 4 on top of 3, 5 on top of 4, and then it dropped below the first episode with the finale. The finale stunk to me. It was awful. Now, was it a failure? No. Was it a failure to disappoint? Yes. I gave it that's sign language for C, a C minus, okay? The best part of the episode, as I alluded to, was Gravik pouring out his heart and soul about how Nick Fury failed him. Great acting by Kingsley Ben-Adir. The fact that they killed him, the fact that they had Gaia, somebody that wasn't even all that essential to the series. If anything, Gravik was the star of the series, played by Kingsley Ben-Adir, like I said. He was the star of the series. Samuel L. Jackson was the big name, but I really believe that Super Skrull took the cake. And they killed him for Gaia. That was dumb to me. Gaia was the daughter of Talos, played by Ben Mendelsohn. Talos was actually killed. Maria Hill, played by Colby Smulders, was actually killed by Gravik. Gravik was catching bodies in the series of established characters, which you rarely see in MCU properties. So the fact that he was definitely killed by Gaia was dumb! It was stupid. If you're going to do cross-marketing and cross-promotions within the MCU, within Phase 5, you start with Gravik. You let him survive this series and come back as a major villain for a major project, maybe even a movie. He could have been helming the Kree-Skrull war. This is an eternal war in the comic books. Bad. Bad. So, again, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. We have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And we have Secret Invasion, the series. This is not a good start for the MCU Phase 5. I'm just be honest. I'm going to be frank. For this mid-year review that I'm giving, Phase 5 gets a big old C minus. C minus. This isn't how you start things off. This is not the way to do business. Especially with all the hype that DC is getting with the changing of the guard. And again, I said the hype. Okay? Now, am I going to compare Marvel to DC? Never. Because I appreciate both of them. I can grab onto both of them. Alright? They don't come out on the same day anyway, so I can watch both. Alright? But MCU thus far, this mid-year report, C minus. Now, who was the MVP thus far? Who was the valedictorian, you could say? To me, it's Gravik. I'm sorry. Kingsley Ben-Adir has been the best thing to happen to the MCU Phase 5 thus far. I know we had greatness with Bradley Cooper as Rocket. We had greatness with Kang the Conqueror, played by Jonathan Majors. But to me, Gravik, played by Kingsley Ben-Adir, I sound like a broken record, okay? A new face to the MCU, a great villain, and his acting, that scene with Samuel L. Jackson, was probably the best thing of the MCU's Phase 5 so far. That alone was the best thing of the entire Phase 5. Again, at around the 6-year point. 6-month point, the halfway point. Kingsley Ben-Adir is my MVP. Okay? Who was the most disappointing of the MCU's Phase 5 thus far? I want to say that ironically, Secret Invasion as a whole is the biggest disappointment for me, because this is what I was looking forward to the most so far. I had the most invested in the series, and from episodes 2 to 5, I thought, yay, they're not going to disappoint me. And then the finale comes out. I'm like, did you really just do this to me? Did you do this? And there were great things about this series. The fact that Samuel L. Jackson was in it, like, fully, was a plus for me. Ben Mendelsohn's character dying off, he didn't really mean that much to me. I'm sorry, I have not seen Captain Marvel, so I don't really have any ties to him, but he almost felt like he was just put in here just to be here. Don Cheadle as the Skrull that was replacing Rhodey was pretty good, okay? But overall, the biggest disappointment for me has been Secret Invasion, while the best thing has been Gravik, who was a part of the series. Is there an oh my god, enough said moment? I'm trying to think. The third acts of the first two movies, which is Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, do not deliver to me. The final boss battle with Kang and MODOK was a joke. The final battle between the High Evolutionary and the Hellspawn versus the Guardians of the Galaxy, I just was not emotionally invested in the High Evolutionary. Again, when it looked like Star-Lord was going to die in space, I was thinking to myself, this is so unnecessary for him to die here. He didn't need a death here. And thankfully, he didn't die. And him going back to Earth and meeting his grandfather, I thought that was cool for the grandfather. And the new Guardians in the mid-credit scene or the post-credit scene, I didn't feel anything for them. Like the fact that Adam Warlock is a part of this new iteration of the Guardians of the Galaxy stinks to me. So overall, for an overall grade, C-, the MCU Phase V here, the mid-year point, okay? So if you agree with my assessment, if you agree with my grades, hit the like button. If not, hit the dislike button. Leave a dissertation in the comment section, please. If you vehemently, a great word for the Great Expanse by John Bat 426, VEHEMENTLY, express to me why this is so far the best phase of Marvel, which I don't see how it could be. Why my grading system is wrong. Why Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is great. Why Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is great. Why it's the best movie since Endgame. Or why Secret Invasion series on Disney Plus is awesome. Because it's not awesome to me. It has awesome bits, but it's not awesome. Alright? David Brent, please let them know where those comments or dissertations go, sir. Thank you, Mr. Brent. Do your part, and I will be sure to do my part so that the Great Expanse by John Bat 426 can and will expand. It's in the name.